Improvising. 202, back to having fun. We've learned our arpeggios, we've learned our seventh chords. Now how do we use all this stuff? What do we do with all this information, and how do we improvise with it? How do we say something? Well, first of all, it's important to know that you want to use as little or as much of this as you want. It's totally, completely a matter of taste. No one plays through tunes and saying, okay, I got to do all my major 7 arpeggios all up and down the neck. I got to make sure to hit this triad there, and I got to make sure to do that. I'm sure there's some people out there that do that, but you don't need to think like that. It doesn't need to be that regimented. The trick here is to follow your ear, okay? You want to start the idea of listening your way up and down the neck. Trying to hear the things in your head, and then using the tools, during your practice time, figure out what those sounds are that you want to accomplish. Figure out how to do them with the tools that I've given you, that we've learned, whether it's our triads, or we're doing a piece of the harmonized major scale, or we're just throwing a pentatonic in here for a second. Figure that out so that the more you play, the longer you're a player, the more you practice, the more bands you're in, the more things like that, the quicker it's going to be between what you hear in your head, oh, I want to go higher, I want to go up here, I want to grab something, and how quicker you can actually execute it to the point where it's seamless. And again, I know I've spoken about this earlier, keep your guitar in your hands as much as possible. The more you keep your guitar in the hands, the quicker this process is going to be. So, what about vocabulary? People always want to know vocabulary, vocabulary, vocabulary. Yes, I have all these tools, I have all the scales, I have all the chords. I know I'm supposed to accentuate my root first of all, and then we're going to start working around chord tones. And as I go up, I know I'm thinking of my pentatonic scale and my arpeggio, and I'm embellishing with the notes around the diatonic major scale, the root, the mother key that you're in. But, phrasing, vocabulary, where do I get these things? Where do they come from? I feel like I have no ideas. I don't know, I don't know what I don't know. Here's what you do. First of all, you need to get in your head that you aren't supposed to be like someone else. You're not supposed to sound like someone else. But your ear does like things. You really do like certain players. Their playing resonates with you. So what do? You listen to those songs. You figure out the solos. And if you can, you use your ear to figure them out. Of course, there's tabs, and there's plenty of videos out there of people showing you how to do this. But you really want to try in the very beginning. Anytime you learn a tune, you learn a solo, you always want to take, a good stab at it, the old college try with the ear. You want to get into that habit. Obviously, you're going to learn it note for note, and you're going to like, you like the solo, and so you're going to remember, all the notes note for note. But the idea is you have to think big. You have to think macro, the context. So what is this person doing when this chord changes? When the note they hang on that you really like so much, and the way that they do it with the vibrato or bend or whatever, what is that chord tone that they're hanging on? Or if it's not a chord tone, what is it? What other note is it in that scale? And think in terms of context. That's the most important thing. Think in terms of context. You say, okay, put it this way. Don't think to yourself, okay, he's going up to the 15th fret, and then he's going 15, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, whatever, and he's counting his way down. No. You say to yourself, okay, he's playing over an E minor chord. I'm up in this part of the neck because I want to sound like in this part of the neck. I want to be high. And he's playing the minor scale. And say he's sequencing it. And if he's stopping, he's choosing to stop on that F sharp when maybe there's a D chord coming up. And that's a third of D. But you don't want to get hung up in, okay, he plays that 3 times. And then he bends that note exactly to that pitch. And forget that. Think macro, the big picture. Say, okay, he's just going up in pattern 4. He's hanging on that chord tone. Everything else he's doing is a matter of personal style and flavor. You learn solos in that regard, And then over time, over the hours and the weeks and the months and the year, you will eventually start to develop your own style with your own sense of phrasing, your own interpretation on how you like to work through all of these shapes. But you want to learn solos from players that you like to listen to and learn them. You have to learn them note for note in the beginning, but think about the concepts, conceptualize, like what are they thinking when the chord changes? What are they doing at that point? Are they going really slow? Are they choosing to have a fast section? Are they being really loud and then they're choosing to be soft? Are they leaving a lot of space in something, a space and time to really accentuate something? Are they letting the note ring out and linger on? Are they trying to play real staccato and not let the sound of the room be heard? Think of all these things as far as the concept, the idea behind it, of what the player's thinking. Not so much he's going 5/7, 5/7, 5/7, 4/6, 1/2, and thinking frets and okay, he's playing this scale. Really try to think macro, the big picture. All right, so that's my little inspirational speech for Improvising 202. So now let's get down to some actual playing examples. So I'm going to choose the key of G, and I'm going to start with a G minor 7 vamp. So a G minor 7, if you remember, is a G, but with a B flat major triad on top. So we're talking 7th chords, right? We're talking 7th chords. What do we do with them? So it's a G something, it's a G minor something. So right off the bat, I can play G minor pentatonic all day and it will sound perfect. It will sound fine. G minor pentatonic all day. But if we take out that G, that's a regular B flat major triad. So while there is G minor happening in here, the other two notes, they are all B flat. And that says B flat. That's the difference between G minor and G minor 7. That B flatness. So this gives you options as a solo player. This gives you options. Again, we said, okay, we don't know any other chords. This is just a vamp. So we can do a G minor scale, or we can do a G minor pentatonic scale, right? We can do all that stuff, and we can focus on the Gs. But what if we choose, because again, we chose this G minor 7. We had a choice. We could play regular G minor, but we liked that G minor 7. We liked that B flat triad over that G. We chose it. So why not choose as an improviser to say something about that as well? So a good exercise for this is to give yourself a loop. And then each time around, do something different. So the first time around, I'm going to focus on my Gs. I'm going to play G minor, G minor, G minor, everything G minor. I'm going to start and end all my phrases on G minor. Everything's going to be about G minor, right? Then the second time through, the same chord will be playing, but I'm thinking B flat major, B flat major. I'm selling you B flat major, right? And you're going to hear, obviously, they're both going to work, right? They're both going to work. But when you choose as an improviser to accentuate certain things or not accentuate certain things, you get a whole new ideas of stuff to go. You'll start thinking of stuff. You'll start thinking of vocabulary and licks that you never would have thought of before because you've chosen. You've made the choice. The same way you chose to make that a minor 7th chord over a minor chord, you're making that choice to say something different because you added that extra tone in there. Okay, so I'm going to start my G minor 7 loop here. First time through, I'm thinking G. Second time through, I'm going to be thinking B flat, right? Accentuating that, right? Right? So G and then B flat, and then mix and match in there, right? So here's your G, then B flat. Messing around. Okay, so what about our 7th chord arpeggios, our harmonized major scales, our triads? Where does this all come in? All right, so more ideas for you. All right, so what about our harmonized major scale, our 7th chord arpeggios, our triads? How does that play in? So what you can do here is grab little pieces of it. I know this is just a 1-chord vamp. It's a 1-chord vamp, but I want you to be thinking about all the different options you have. You have scales that you're going to go through. You can focus on your G minor. You can focus on your B flat. So you have your G minor 7 arpeggio. You can do your B flat major regular arpeggio. All that stuff is going to work on it. You can have your triads. One thing I always like to tell people to do when they're learning is to try the harmonized major scale, little pieces of it. Just go up 2 chords, come back. Go down 2 chords, come back from any spot.